In today's episode of Value on My Toy Collection, we're going to value all of these Miss Universe pageant dolls. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building, and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection. And then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Value My Toy Collection and value some toys. Alright, in today's episode, we're going to value all of these dolls we have in our Miss Universe doll collection. And stay till the end because we're actually going to have a real pageant and see which doll wins. All right, well, let's jump right in. All these dolls are handmade. This one is Miss Uruguay, and she's just beautiful. She's got this bright green dress. It's like a flowered sequin she's made out of. Next, we have the Miss Russia doll. She's made from an old Ariel doll, and she's got all these embroidered roses all over her. Next, we have the Miss Greece doll, and she is adorned with all kinds of rhinestone trim and some vintage pearl necklaces. Next, we have Miss Germany that is made of feathers and these square green and blue beads. All right, next up we have Miss Cuba, and she is in kind of metallic colors and blue, very pretty doll. Next, we have a real bright, festive Miss Tahiti doll that's got little birds with bird nest all over her. And then in this vibrant red, we have the Miss Spain, who's done in bright red feathers. And then in this gold sequin, we have Miss Dominican Republic, and she's looking spectacular. I forgot to tell you how much the dolls are worth. Each of these dolls we valued at about $40 each. Some of them more, some a little less, but that's the average price. Here in her red and purple is our version of Miss India. All right, here pretty in pink, we have Miss Finland. She is covered in all kinds of different flowers and sequins, and wearing that giant hat she has to hold up. All right, next we have Miss New Zealand, who looks like a hillside with just greens and purples, like flowers everywhere. Pretty cool doll. All right, let's see who else we have. Here we have Miss Estonia. She's actually an old skipper doll, and she's just bright and festive in all kinds of different colors and little pom-poms and little appliques. Here we have Miss Greenland, who's more natural, has some plants on her costume, and done in yellow and green and white with a few feathers, looking pretty cool. All right, next we have Miss Bolivia from South America, done in her aqua blue. And then we have Miss Israel, who's really cool. She's got some appliques on her from old pageant dresses. And then we've added a lot of feathers. Next, I really like this one. This is Miss Peru, and she is done in a lot of peacock feathers with greens and blues. All right, coming up next, we have Miss Chile, and she's just done in all kinds of pinks and rhinestones, and a very beautiful doll. All right, and next we have Miss Argentina, who's very festive and bright with orange and yellow and green, and a really pretty brunette. Then we have Miss Ukraine, and she's an old candy doll, and we did her in black with some black fur and feathers. And then we have the Miss Japan doll, and she is just covered in sequins and little beads and metal pieces, and looks very, very ornate, I would say. All right, next row we have Miss Colombia, who's celebrating Carnival, and she's just very colorful. Next, we have Miss China, who's covered in rhinestones with blue and green trim everywhere with blue feathers. Next up, we have Miss Italy, and she is done in pink and purples with all kinds of appliques and rhinestones. And then next up, we have Miss Singapore. She looks really opulent, and I believe that's a vintage Mika doll. think it's Mika. And then we have Miss Canada, and she has too much weight on her head, her head has kind of collapsed, so I have to hold it up. But I'm going to put some more beadwork behind her neck to keep it up because she's a really great doll. She just needs a little tender love and care. All right, next we have Miss Costa Rica, another real vivid, bright doll. A great doll. And then we have Miss Thailand. She kind of looks like Miss Japan a little bit. She's very ornate with a lot of little metal pieces on her. And then we have Honduras. That is a former Spice Girl doll. And I really like that color combination with the orange and green. Here we have Miss Switzerland, and we're going to have to replace her feathers. She's getting a little, needing a lot of work right there, but still a great doll. And then we have Miss Netherlands, who's real bright with pink and fuchsias, a great doll. And then we have Miss Belgium, who is in blue with tons of flowers. And then we have Miss Ireland, who of course is a redhead dressed in green. Then we have Miss England. She's done in bright green and bright pink. And then I really like this one, Miss Barbados, who's like an underwater scene with all kinds of shells and underwater features. Really nice. Then we have Miss Jamaica, who's done in a fuchsia with all kinds of ornate pieces on her with a lot of feathers. And she's also a vintage Christie doll, I believe. Then we have Miss Denmark, who's done in green and yellow flowers with a lot of feathers, and she's a Massine doll. Then we have Miss Sweden, that's done in pink and yellow, and she is a blonde Barbie from the 80s. And then we have Miss Cayman Islands, also from the Caribbean, looking great. But Miss Venezuela, who's really rich in a lot of rhinestones in red and green. And then we have Miss Guam, who is done with a lot of beaded Indian medallions and brass pieces and little worry dolls on her headdress. I really like her. She's really cool. Then we have Miss USA, red, white, and blue. She's just adorned with all kinds of patriotic pieces and a lot of rhinestones. And then we have Miss France. She is done in all yellow with a lot of gold trim and appliques, and she looks pretty awesome too. We have Miss Zaire, which is a country that used to be represented at Miss Universe. I believe it's now the Congo, but I like the word Zaire, so I used it. All right, next we have Miss Mexico. She's bright and festive because when you go to Mexico, everything is super colorful, and I think she looks great. Next we have Miss Philippines, who has a more simple dress but a beautiful face and headdress, so she's pretty elegant there. Next up, we have Miss Australia. She's from the Outback, so she's done in neutrals and bronze colors. She looks really great. Next, we have Miss South Africa that's done with a lot of appliques from an old pageant dress, and she's a vintage doll from the 80s as well. Then we have the beautiful Miss Brazil, who's done in yellow and gold as well. And then we have Miss Hong Kong, who's another Asian doll, who is very pretty with this black dress with all kinds of pink and green rhinestone accessories. Then we have Miss Iceland, who of course is representing snow. And then we have some more on the top shelf here. This one's Miss Panama. She is done in really bright colors as well. And I really like those green earrings hanging from her headdress. All right, next up we have Miss Malaysia, who's done in purple and peacock feathers, looking awesome there. And let's see who else we have here. Here we have Miss Croatia, who's done in these very muted colors, like this deep, deep yellow, almost a gold. And then we have Miss Norway, who's all done up in blues and pinks. Very pretty. And then we have Miss Puerto Rico. She's more our Valentine doll here with all kinds of hearts and red and pink accessories. And then we have Miss Kosovo. And she's really cool with all these different color roses to make up her dress. And then this one is very pretty. She's very floral and pink, and she's Miss Poland. I had to look at her tag. I couldn't remember who she was. She looks great. And then we have Miss Czech Republic, who's done in green and gold with a big headdress on. All right, well, let's have our quick pageant real quick and see who was chosen as our favorite doll. We'll go from 15th place all the way down to our top one. In 15th place was Miss South Africa. In 14th place was Miss USA. And in 13th place was Miss Guam. And in 12th place was Miss Ukraine. And then in 11th place was Miss Peru. So that leaves our top 10. In 10th place, we have Miss Israel. And then in 9th place, we have Miss Zaire. And then in 8th place, we have Miss Barbados. And then in 7th place, we have Miss Greenland. And in 6th place, we have Miss Philippines. So that means who are our top 5? Our top 5 dolls are Miss Russia, Miss Brazil, Miss Greece, Miss Japan, and Miss Tahiti. All right, well, let's place these dolls. Our 4th runner-up is Miss Brazil. Our 3rd runner-up, who's she gonna be? We're about to announce it. Here it comes. Your 3rd runner-up is Miss Japan. And now that means we just have 3 dolls left: Russia, Greece, and Tahiti. Your 2nd runner-up is Russia. All right, that means we have 2 dolls left. One will be chosen as the 1st runner-up, and one will be chosen as our winner. Your 1st runner-up is Miss Greece. And that means your doll winner is Miss Tahiti. Congratulations, Miss Tahiti. Now, it was fun valuing all of our dolls, and we also had this big sign we made that's worth about $20. So let's go see what everything's worth and see what our grand total is for this video. Previous 373 videos of value in my toy collection. Our toy collection was worth $928,690. Now, when we did this video of all of our cool, one-of-a-kind, handmade Miss Universe pageant dolls in their country costumes, we can add another $2,300 to our overall grand total. So what that means is for this episode, which is 374 of value in my toy collection, our overall grand total now is $930,990. Now, we've still got a ton of videos to make of all of our toys, so I'm hoping that the toy collection will be worth $1 million when we're done, because I really want to say I have $1 million toy collection. Guys, remember, I'm not a millionaire. I've just been saving toys all my life, going to thrift stores, flea markets, garage sales, toy stores, and looking online, and it's just accumulated to this big old total. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am making them. I love to see what all I have on these shelves and what it's worth, and they're just collecting dust for so many years. So as I go through this stuff, it's like Christmas time all over again, finding new stuff I didn't even remember I had. So I'm also putting all these toys on Facebook, and our Facebook page is the Toy Vault of Mississippi, so definitely check it out. So until our next video, guys, we will see you then.